Hello friends and fellow Vikings, welcome back to another edition of Adventure with Roger. Today we're going to take a walk through a small skeleton dungeon called burial chambers. These burial chambers are spread out all over the Black Forest areas and random locations. So after you clear one out, take note of it on your map so you don't wonder later on if you cleared a specific one. Surtling cores is the item that we're after, and I'm going to show you the easiest way to literally put the hammer down on these skeletons for some easy loot. First, you're going to want to get yourself a big two-handed club called Stag Breaker, and you're going to want to level it up to level 2. That means you will have to have your workbench at level 2. At first, I didn't really like this hammer. I found it clunky and too slow. However, I found a specific use for Stag Breaker that changed my mind about it drastically. The reason is because Stag Breaker has an attack that is an area of effect damage, meaning it strikes the ground and it deals in a large area. And in tight quarters like we have in this dungeon, it makes it almost too easy. Oh yeah, did I mention Stag Breaker also has a knockback? The only thing you have to watch out for is that you don't overcommit to any fight, because each time you swing this monster club, you lose a third of your stamina. So 3, maybe 4 attacks is all you get before you have to back away. Even though you don't see me with one at the moment, if this is your first time in one of these dungeons, I recommend bringing a torch to walk around with when you're not swinging this monstrous hammer around. Also, don't hesitate to use the beginner club now and then when you're out running around the world to kill things. The club is that newbie one-handed weapon you have when you're brand new to Valheim, but it does something invaluable for you, and that's raise your skill with blunt weapons. I used the club for a long time and it's by far my highest stat. Then spear after that, of course. My point being that the Stag Breaker also does blunt damage, so raising your blunt skill with the ordinary one-handed club is a good thing to do. While you're in the burial chambers, explore one corridor completely all the way to the end. That's my recommendation before you start a new one. It can all start to look similar, and you could easily get turned around and frustrated. I recommend if you have to start a fire in the first room, it'd make it easier to make it find your way out, and also to get a small rested buff. It's possible to encounter a ghost in here, and I don't recommend using the Stag Breaker while you're trying to kill it unless you can get a good angle. The ghost does hit harder than the skeletons, and you may want to try to focus it down, and if you find that you're not damaging it much with the AoE attacks. I found that the Surtling cores are almost always in one of the last rooms down one of the corridors, and sometimes in multiple last rooms in multiple different corridors. There's also quite a few different doors inside of these burial chambers. If you get in trouble, don't be afraid to run away and close one of the doors behind you. The skeletons will not open the door, and it'll give you a chance to rest up and regain some of your HP. Also guys, make sure you have on all 3 of your food buffs. 1 or 2 of the meats, at least 1 mushroom, and possibly honey if you have honey. If not, 1 piece of meat, 1 mushroom, and 1 berry will work out just fine for you. Each piece of food gives you a certain amount of health, a certain amount of stamina, and a certain amount of health regeneration. The honey gives you 5 ticks of health per, 5 HP per tick, whereas a lot of the other foods will only give you 1 HP per tick, so it's something to look into. Almost every one of these dungeons has a specific room in it that has a skeleton spawn point. If you feel like you want to farm up some of these skeletal bones, don't use the Stag Breaker in that room. Just go in there, kill the skeletons, and don't kill the thing that spawns them. They will continue to respawn indefinitely, and will allow you to not only get unlimited amounts of bones that you need, but you can also train any weapon that you choose that way because you'll have an unlimited supply of skeletons. This purple thing right here in the middle of the room is what I was telling you about. The Stag Breaker makes quick work of it and just destroys it immediately. But if I didn't kill it, it would just continue to spawn skeletons. Now there's a chest in this room and there's 3 Surtling cores. Sometimes you only find 1, sometimes you find 3, sometimes you find 5. It just depends on the dungeon specifically. It's all random. Let's go, big damage. Oh yeah. Boom. Perhaps today is a good day to die. For you, that is. Alright guys, we found a couple more Surtling cores. It's our lucky day. Ooh, and a treasure chest. Now all we do is gotta find our way out of here and take all this sweet loot back to our house, right guys? Well, I'm afraid all good things must come to an end, but don't worry, I have an entire playlist of Valheim videos for you to enjoy. Remember, only the bravest and smartest warriors who subscribe to my channel will make it to Valhalla. So Skull, friends! Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you on my next adventure.